Hi, and welcome back to Boss Wife. I'm your host, Ebony. Here is where you'll get your motivation for the week. Here is where you'll get your tools and tips to learn how to laugh, play, and live hard, unapologetically. Here is where you'll learn how to erase the lines of the box because you realize you cannot be contained. Here is where you'll learn how to show up for yourself. Here is where the most powerful transition will begin in your life. Welcome to Boss Wife. Hey guys, and welcome back to Boss Wife. I am so excited to have you guys back with me on this Tuesday. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you again for continuing to follow me and to keep up with me. And thank you for investing back in me and taking on what I tell you guys and investing into other people as well, because I know you guys are doing it and I can see it. I know you guys are investing back into your futures as well and your daily walks that you do every day, your meditation, your motivation, your inspiration. Thank you guys so much for reaching back out to me and letting me know that you're doing that. I'm super excited to know that I'm helping people, even though I can't physically see you, can't physically meet you, or, even though we are talking through messengers and DMs or whatever, but I'm just grateful to know that I am not just on here talking alone, talking to myself, that I'm physically and emotionally helping somebody and others grow as well. So thank you guys so much. Now, on tonight, I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Kim. I'm going to say her last name very slowly so I don't mess it up. Her last name is McLaughlin. And I am super excited to have her on my show, you guys. We laughed and talked so much. I really didn't even want to stop the interview, but I knew we had to. But she was such a delight, you guys. She was such a joy to talk to. I can relate to her. I can relate to her story, her journey. I can relate to everything that she was just all about. And it was amazing. It was life-changing. And I know that she's definitely going to help you guys out on tonight as well. So just to give you a little bit of backstory about Kim, she is an MA, is Kim McLaughlin, MA. She is a licensed psychotherapist and a motivational coach who works with people who suffer from emotional eating, body image issues, self-esteem, and binge eating. She is passionate about helping people feed their soul and put food in its proper place as nourishment. Kim has she's also a speaker. She's been a speaker for many years. She speaks for many groups, and she enjoys sharing the message that you can look at food differently, not just how you want to view food. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm stuttering so much tonight, but not just how we want to view food. My goodness, but she helps you to look at it differently and put a different definition behind what it is actually for. And I love that. You'll hear a lot of that in the conversation. You can find out more about Kim, plus get access to her monthly free calls and her free reports. And I'll link everything in the bottom below so you guys can definitely get in touch with her. But anyways, Kim has a master's degree in clinical psychology, which gives her the knowledge, training, experience, and understanding to really help people move out of frustration and into action. She works with people in groups and individually and would love to talk to you more about your situation and struggles. So you guys definitely reach out to Kim. And if you need any help with bulimia, anorexia, if you have children who are suffering from this, if you know people who definitely just need to hear the podcast, definitely reach out to them because we get into a lot of deep things. We talk about a lot of different things tonight, but it is definitely informational. And like I said, I really enjoyed having Kim on. So let's get started. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Hi, Ebony. I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. I'm so glad you decided to join us on BossWife.live. I'm super excited about this conversation. I just want my community to know that I was drawn to you because I connected with you immediately. As soon as I saw your podcast and everything that you were about, it was just so personal for me. So before we get into all the meat of the dinner, can you tell us your morning routine? How do you get up and get started for your day?
Well, that's the first time I've been asked that question on a podcast. So good for you for coming up
Thank
with
you.
That is decent. So This is really funny because I am not a morning person. So as late as I can sleep, I will sleep in. So
Gotcha.
generally this morning I was awake at like 7. And what happens is my husband gets up to go get ready. And our daughter comes in. She doesn't start school, get this, until 9 o'clock in the morning. Like it's a late start. So she then crawls in at 7:15, and from 7:15 to 7:30, we snuggle in bed. Like generally we both fall asleep again, but so we do that. I get up. I do all these things that theys that talk about how your morning routine goes. I look in my email. I want to know what my day is, what's in my day coming ahead. So I do that, and then 5 mornings, I go to the gym.
Okay.
I'm good with I like going to the gym. I like being with people and exercise. It's my only way to get any kind of movement done, So that's my morning. That's what I do.
So the reason I asked you that was because you are a psychologist,
a psychotherapist.
Psychotherapist, yes. So, and I wanted to see like how you process things and how you process your day, because we all know like the way that you start your day, like pretty much determines how your day is going to go. Right. So that's why I just want to make sure like I was doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, is there anything I'm supposed to be doing?
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I listen to the people and I read the books about get up a half hour early and meditate and get your reading in and get your, positive things going on. And I got to tell you, this routine. So what happens is then after I'm done at the gym, that's when I bring out my meditation, and that's when I bring out my journaling. And so it's after that, I just have found that this is the kind of routine that works good for me. But everything gets put, everything comes in ultimately in the morning. It's just that what sequence it all goes in.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
My sequence is definitely all over the place. Like I get up and I take my kids to school. I'm like you. I lay in the bed to the very last minute. I got like 4 alarms set, no joke.
Yeah.
And my kids have to be at school at least by 6:45. So, my husband will get up, he'll get the kids up, and then I'll get up at like 6-ish, and by that time everybody's already ready. So we're at the house by like at least 6:20, 6:30. Yeah. And then I get them to school. I don't have to be at work until 8:30.
Yeah.
And my job is like 10 minutes from their school. So I get to work like an hour and a half early every single day. So I just sit at work and I work on everything else that I got going on for me personally. And then I clock in. So that's my day. I would love to go to the gym like I used to go to the gym in the mornings, because it's a lot easier for me to work out in the mornings. Yeah. But I don't hit that mark.
I think it's do it on the weekend. Like what gets your mental health. I think it's like, what works best for your day or for your family or your season of life. Yeah. And you do that. And so you do that. It used to be where I would do the gym in the evening because that worked in my life. And I get all of it done. It's just, I can only do it the best way I can do it. And so I always think like, if your morning routine works for you and you feel good starting your day, rock on, keep doing that.
Right. Definitely. No judgment zone.
No judgment zone. Because I will not get up a half hour early unless I have to.
Me too. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in psychotherapy. I really want to know was it something you always wanted to do as a child? Was it something that just kind of fell in your lap? Like, tell us a little bit how you got started with that.
So I think you would probably call it like it fell in my lap, but now it makes perfect sense. At the time I didn't have any plan. I wanted to go to college and I wanted to study psychology, and I didn't know what that meant. It's just what I was drawn to. I went to college, and in psychology, they had 3 areas, and one of them was developmental. I didn't know what that even meant, but it was the lesser of all of them. That's like, okay, I'll try that. Well, what it is it's working with kids, and it worked into me graduating my bachelor's. Then I knew I wanted to be a therapist. So I then went for my master's, and I focused on kids. developmental, right, with kids. Comes to find out, I'm really good with teenagers. I'm one of those rare birds that like I work really well with acting out teenagers. And so that became my gig for years and years and years. I worked from all the way from the, overnight staff to the director of residential facility for emotionally disturbed kids because I was really good with it. I wasn't an acting out kid when I was a kid, but I just got them and I understood them. I worked with them for a lot of years, then moved into working in mental health with homeless, mentally ill folks. And so it was around all the therapy with our homeless folks, and then moved into my own private practice where I focused on eating disorders and intuitive eating. I don't know. It seemed like every step of the way, there was kind of this different calling for me that just led me in the direction. And I would have never predicted it, but it's just how it all worked out. And it worked out really well.
Right. Obviously it did.
Yeah.
Obviously it did. So how did you combine like intuitive eating and your psychotherapy and all of that into children? Like, can you give us a little bit more history about that?
Well, so the children, I don't work much with children anymore. So what happened was I was working with homeless folks, and I was a director at that point, and I had my daughter. So I had my daughter in my 40s. And so she was, when she was 2 years old, I just looked around and go, I have to make a change. And what I realized is, I tell this story and it's just really comical to me, that I realized I was a psychotherapist and that I was trained to be that, but I was acting as a manager. I was a director. So like, you didn't get to work much with people. So I decided to leave my career and open my own business as a psychotherapist. And when what they talk about is in business is often niche, get down to a narrow focus. I have struggled with food all of my life. I didn't know I dieted all of my life. I struggled with my weight and not liking myself all of my life. At that point in time, Janine Ross, who is pretty big in the binge eating, compulsive eating area, she had come out with a new book, and I go, that's what I want to do. And so I studied eating disorders. I studied intuitive eating. I got certificates, and that was where it started. And I've come to find out I really love it. I love working with people in that space, because people are struggling and feel. I've been thinking about this a lot the past couple of weeks, because people will tell me a lot about how much they hate themselves. Hate because of their weight and because of their body size and because of the food they just ate. That makes me feel sad. and I resonate with the feeling, but it was the hate word that when I hear people say, it's like, oh, honey, I get you. I get you. And to think, if you think kind of logically that somebody would hate themselves, it's like, there's a big bit of shame in food and weight and eating that we got to work through. Yeah. And I'm here to help you figure that out.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's definitely my story.
Yeah.
It is. Like I struggled with my weight after I had my kids, and I didn't before. And I went from being a actual model from like 14 to 18. And then got married at 19, and we started a family right away, not on purpose, but I had 4 babies within 3 years, but I had a total of 6 pregnancies, and my body went through this like huge shock, of course, and so it was just like I didn't know how to identify myself anymore. I don't know if that makes sense, but it wasn't that I was lost. It was just that I just completely forgot who I was because of what I looked like. And even before I gained weight, I had an issue with eating. Like I loved eating. My mom used to tell me this saying all the time, men on your lips, forever on your hips. And I was like, oh, whatever, because my mom is slim, and I was like, everybody in my family is slim. Like, I don't have to worry about gaining weight. Yeah, that's not true. Because obviously I take after my dad's side, not my mama's side. So, but I can definitely understand that. Like I wouldn't I don't know. I don't know if it was hate towards myself, but I didn't look at myself. Like I could literally get up, get dressed, put on makeup, do my hair, and not even see me, you know? And I chose to do that. Like I chose not to look at myself. I chose not to focus on, you know, my size or whatever, because I was ashamed of it, you know, and I held myself back from a lot of things because of my weight and because of what I look like. And so I definitely understand that. And I think it's amazing what you do. And I'm honored to even be able to talk to you and have you in my community, because people need to hear that, you know, it's okay. We've all been there. You're not alone. You know, this isn't something that you're just dealing with, you know, like that just fell out of the sky on top of you. Like, no, like a lot of women go through this, you know? So what are some things that, I know I was listening to you the other day, you were talking about gratitude. Like, how do you incorporate gratitude into what you do? Like, can you help us with that?
Well, so it's interesting because what I just thought of when you just said the word gratitude, and it's not necessarily how I always talk about gratitude, is that, you know, our bodies are the way our bodies are. And it comes from a place of being great. One thing about gratitude, you know, gratitude is multifaceted, but if, you know, just what I'm thinking of in this moment about gratitude is the idea that this body is super special and unique, and it gets me in the world and it gets me doing things that I need to do. And the more I'm grateful for that, the more I'm good with my body. And it's not like, you know, being grateful is going to make you eat differently, but it does make you come to the table differently, right? Think about food. Like when you eat and you're feeling down and upset and like, oh, good, you know, we might be more mindless, right? We might just eat things that don't necessarily feel good in our stomach, or that are not going to fuel us or give us brain, you know, make our brains work really well. They're going to bring us down and make us feel not so good. And it's not that I'm saying there's bad foods, but there are foods that are good for me in this moment and foods that won't necessarily fuel me in the way I want to move. And so the more grateful I am when I come to the table, literally, I go, well, what's my right food? What fuels me right now? And sometimes it can be potato chips. No judgment. Like, you know, it's once again a judgment-free zone, right? But I don't then leave the table. When I come to it with gratitude, is I don't leave the table going, I shouldn't have done that. That was horrible. That was bad. I'm gonna have to go work that off. I hate myself for eating that. I'm going to get fat, right? We go into it saying, I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for this lovely food that's in front of me, which is my right food, right?
Right.
And then we're grateful at the end. That was yummy. I'll say that, like, you know, I'll have something that other people might think is, oh, that's bad food. It's like, I'll eat and go, dang, that was good. I feel great. Thank you. Right? Thank you. Gratitude, huh? And the more the thing is what I'll tell people is like, the way we are today is the way we're going to be tomorrow and the next day, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm in gratitude, if I'm in positivity, I'm good with myself, I'm good with my body today, well, I'm going to be even more good. I'm going to be even better with it tomorrow, right? Right. Because what we know is that when we feel negative today, it compounds tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It does not help tomorrow. We'll have this thought that I have to beat myself up to make myself do something different. It's like, whoa, that doesn't work. Never has. Wow. So I can't beat myself up into doing something different or being the best version of me, right? So it makes no sense when we beat ourselves up over food, right? Right. If I beat myself over food, I'm not going to eat any differently later because I feel horrible. Right. It doesn't work. Right. And that, I think, is a starting spot. And that's what I thought of when you talked about gratitude, is that whole idea of like, how do we come to the table and how are we going to be with ourselves, and how I am today, this moment with myself, is what's going to move me forward tomorrow even better. Right. Or it'll move me into the negative because that's how I am today. Right. That's true. Wow. That was really powerful. I never even thought about it like that, but you're right. Like when we
And that goes with everything, right? Because when we're in bad relationships, it doesn't make us feel better. It doesn't make us do positive things. It makes you do things even worse. When you're on a job that you're not happy with, like when people are constantly pounding you, you're not good. You're not doing your job. You're not getting this done. Your quota's not met. You're not making me, like it makes you feel worse. And then you make even more mistakes. Right. So, wow, like that was amazing. You're right. Like when we eat things, and I've done that definitely. Like I'll eat something and I really, really want it. And then after I eat, I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't eat that. Like I feel horrible. I'm going to regret it. And I beat myself up about it. And it's like, oh, that was amazing. That was amazing.
Well, and that's where intuitive eating comes into play, that if we're eating from that intuitive knowing of what's your right food or what your body needs, like if we're in that spot, then I'll go, this is yummy. This is delicious. I'm eating as much as I want, that how much, works in my body. And I end and go, that was good. It was good. Right. And so it becomes this kind of, it's that positive begets positive. Like it just makes everything move in that direction. Even with food.
Definitely. So can you talk a little bit more about intuitive eating? Like break down intuitive.
Yeah. Well, intuitive eating is a way of eating that is connected to your body. Think of it like when with your kids, right? Your kids, like they just know, they don't always know what to eat, but they know what they won't have. They know when they're hungry.
Right.
You cannot make a kid eat. A kid who's a normal eater, right? You cannot make them eat when they're not hungry. And you cannot make them eat more than they're hungry for.
Right. That's
right?
true.
You can't make that. And like that was profound with my daughter when she was coming up. She would leave M&Ms on the table. And like I didn't understand that. It's like, what's up with this? Well, I'm full. What does that have to do with it?
Right, it's M&M's.
I couldn't believe it. Oh my gosh. And she takes to this day. Well, she doesn't like cake or anything much at all, but on cupcakes, she takes the frosting off. What? I don't understand this. Like that was beyond me. It was like, for me, it has been anything that's sweet, I'm all in. Like, I don't even think about whether I like it or not, whether I'm full or not, or whether I'm hungry or not. I don't even go there because, or if it's gonna make me feel, my tummy feel bad, I don't even think about it. But when we were kids, we knew when we were hungry, when we were full, and we literally could walk away from the M&Ms in the plate and go, yeah. My daughter would say what she said to me, and this is so profound, is I'd say, so Lil, are you going to have any more? She says, no, my tummy says I'm full. My tummy says I'm full. That's what I'm talking about, right? That's what kids have. And through lots of things that happened, some of us, me, it was younger. For you, it was older, that there were things that got in the way of us really connecting back in with our body. And what happens is over time is the more we're not responding to our body, and then feelings come into play and thoughts come into play and body image comes into play and hormones come into play and lifestyle of the world, and then you begin to not like yourself. It all goes around and around, and it then makes it so we're off track with that intuitive knowing that we had a long time ago. So it's really getting back to what we were like when we were kids, adding in some veggies, you know what I'm saying? So it's like adding in a little bit of what we know is nourishing to our body, but it's getting back to that childlike knowing of what our body, just knowing what our body needs. We're so disconnected from being inside of our body that we don't. People will say like, well, Kim, so it's like eat when you're hungry. I mean, basically it's eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, eat food that nourish you. And that sounds so simple. It's just not easy. People will say, Kim, if I ate the food I wanted to eat, I would be huge. If I ate all the food I wanted to eat, I would be huge. And what I'll say is that, well, if you're eating intuitively, you won't. I mean, you're just going to be, you might not be the body size that you think you're supposed to be, because often we have a number. We made up a number in our head, right? That this is what my body's supposed to be, this number. And our body doesn't necessarily fit that. We have to restrict, right, to get to that number. Because my body rested a certain weight that is not necessarily what I think it should be at, but it's just what where my body is. And we then get judgmental, right, about our body and our size, and then I've got to change it, which is encouraged by our society.
That's true. Right? That is true.
Right?
So what do you think? Yeah. So what do you think causes us to overeat? Like, how do you think? I'm sorry. All these thoughts. So what do you think encourages us to overeat? And is it connected emotionally? Like, I know the answer to that, but definitely.
Yeah. Well, yes, it is. And one of the things that I always like to start with people when I start working with them is we talk about your diet mentality, right? What did you learn about yourself? About what we've learned is that we are supposed to restrict, right? And what we're supposed to restrict. And if I have, you can see as everybody else, I describe it more visually, but it's a circle. At the top of the circle is restrict, which is dieting. Eat a lot less food, right? And what happens is what we know is that when we restrict, if we go around the circle, there is a point in time where we binge. Because we've been restricted. You all know, everybody knows this. I'm not saying anything like profound. Right. We know this. But what happens then is then we move around the circle again and we move into shame. I hate myself. I don't like myself. I shouldn't have done that. This is bad. And the only thing we know to do again is to come back to the top of the circle and restrict. Right? And so it's that kind of definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So what I say is let's pull out of that cycle and move into intuitive eating. And part of that is checking in with where am I restricting, but also where are my feelings at? Because it begins over the years, it gets intertwined, the emotions and the food. And it's not like, the way I think of it or the way I talk about it is that it's not like, I get mad and then I'm going to have cake. It doesn't work that way. And so it's so subtle. It's so subtle where I come home from work and I lay down on the couch and I have whatever the food is. I'll just eat unconsciously, right? Mindlessly, right? We all know this, right? We do that and then we go, oh my God, the bag's empty. Uh-oh, what did I just do? And then, well, if I've just done that, what the heck, I'll do more. What happens is people say, well, I just don't eat. It's like, well, but let's talk about the why. What was going on, right? I'm stressed at my job. I have too much to do. I'm really tired because I didn't sleep well last night. I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling bored. What I know is that if I eat because I come home from work, I'm single, I'm lonely. Well, think about it. So if I eat because I'm lonely, if we track it back and go, oh, it's loneliness is causing me to eat, right? Well, if I eat, that literally does not help loneliness. It literally does not help loneliness. And what happens is then we get in that, diet, binge, shame cycle. We're in the shame part, right? Where we go, oh, I feel so bad. Now I've got to fix that problem. Well, the problem really was the loneliness.
Right.
But it becomes so subtle that we don't know that's what's going on. It becomes really subtle. It's like we just don't get it. And looking at using tools and techniques and ways to figure out how you're feeling. And what I love about this, about intuitive eating and looking at the feelings, is that, the psychotherapist in me just does a happy dance, because it means then we get to look at our feelings, right? And the more we check in on our feelings, the more we check in on what's going on, the better we are emotionally in our world. right? Not just about food, but just in life in general. So they're combined. They're so combined. And what I love about doing this work is that it becomes we don't talk about food anymore. We talk about your feelings. And then that's how we move into the kind of fixing. I'm doing air quotes here, fixing it.
And that's true.
But it makes you like a fully functioning human being. That's not the best way to put it, but it makes you more in touch with what's going on with you, right?
It does. It's like yoga, right? And meditation. It's like it pushes you back in touch with what's actually going on with you, right? Pulls everything back in, makes you center back down and focus, and say, hey, what is the real objective here? Like, what is the real goal here? And I love that about you. And you have to have that in everything. Like, the name of my podcast is Boss Life Out Loud. So you're an entrepreneur, you're a mother, you have everything going on for you in your world, and it's like at the end of the day, you still have to realize, listen, I have to be in control of me. And I just talked about this too on another podcast. I was talking like, you really have to be in control of you, because if you don't, you can run away, right? Like, and that's what happens with our eating. We let it run away from us, and then it's like when it's too late, we try to reel it back in, and but not really saying it's too late. They're in the airport, but like we feel like, oh my God, I keep this certain weight, and now I gotta diet. I gotta figure out. I went out in circles so many times. I've done so many different diets, tried to lose weight so many different times, tried to starve myself so many different times. And I never really, and I can lose weight. Definitely if I don't eat, I can definitely lose weight. But it seemed like when I eat, I gain like 5 more pounds back. And it's like, what in the world? And it's genetic. It's not like, I'm just, my body just doesn't, is working against me on purpose. It's just, you gotta realize what you're working with, pretty much. Like you said, like this is who you are, this is what you got. And you gotta realize, the different steps of what you can and can't do. That's just that and that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It makes it as you were talking, it made me think of, I have these 6 components, I call them 6 components of Feed Your Soul: physical, emotional, mental, lifestyle, mindfulness, self-love. Self-love. That's what you were just talking about, is that's what we lose, when we're hitting that heat about ourselves. Like, we've lost that, I'll have clients tell me, I'll say, well, what do you think you need? And they go, oh, okay, Kim, I know what you're going to say. I need more self-love.
Right. But you got to realize what that love is too, because people, we identify love in all different kind of ways, in different fashions, and people identify food with love. I love myself enough. I love myself to the point where I'm not going to deprive myself. I hear that a lot. I'm in the medical field, and it's like, well, I'm not going to eat. Or, I've lived this long, and I can do this, and I can do that. And it's like, it hasn't killed me by now. I get that one a lot. But it's like, you have to identify what love is, and a lot of times we don't know what love is, right? We go about it in all. You see it in all different kinds of relationships. On jobs, when you're at home, and you're even with your parents. Some parents don't know how to love their kids. We love them in different ways. We feel like money. We throw money at kids. We feel like, hey, okay, this is how I love you. I'm gonna apologize with my money, or I'm gonna spend money on you to make you feel like I love you. Or I'm gonna allow you to eat whatever you want to eat, because I love you. We have those parents too, and then you grow up with all these bad habits, right? So I love that, yes. And I was actually looking at your 6 components, because that's a huge part in feeding your soul, feeding your body, period. Because if you don't have all of that working together, you're gonna be like, you're gonna go around in that circle constantly, the different diets, the different foods, what I can't eat, what I can't eat, and starvation and overeating and binging. And it's important to realize that you have to. Sometimes we can't do it alone, right? And that's why we have that's why we have body breaks. And you have to reach out at that point where you get to bulimia or anorexia, or binge eating, but when you get to that point, it's time to say, hey, listen, I need help. I need to figure out what else out there, what else is out there. So what are some ways that we can go about? Like, is it too late? Is there a point in our lives where it's too late to address this?
it's never too late. I mean, when we're gone, that's when we're done. You know what I'm saying? When we made our transition out of this body, like that's when we're done. Before that, it's interesting to me that I'll work with people in their 70s and 80s who still don't like themselves because of how they eat.
Wow.
And don't feel good. I mean, it's like it doesn't end at a certain age. So any time is the right time to start. You're never too old. And what I would think of if you're people want to think about like how do you start? It's like start thinking about what you've done and how's that. I love that. How's that working for you? That kind of that. My story is going on diet since I was a teenager and losing weight just like you, and then gaining it all back when I started eating. And it's just a cycle that feels horrible. And like, is that working? Because what we're told in our society is to keep trying it, that we're the problem. We're the problem. And if we just did it right, we would be able to conquer this. I was just looking at, actually, just before we got on, because I knew I had these numbers. So get this, the weight loss industry in 2019 is $255 billion industry.
Oh my God.
By 2027, they predict it's going to be a $295 billion industry. There's a commitment to have us, just kind of think of what we're up against. We're up against an industry that wants a lot of money. If it didn't work, if it worked, it wouldn't be increasing in size.
Yeah, you're right.
Really, that's when I really started to think about it. Well, dang, I'm up against an industry that really wants to tell me that my body. Where are we at now? We're in April when we're taping this. Am I bikini ready? Like, God.
Yes.
Stop it. Please. It's just ridiculous. So now I'm not okay because I'm not bikini ready. And so I need to go do these things to be bikini ready. And there's this kind of a cultural piece that we're up against. So just really start looking at what have I done and what's worked and what hasn't. Right? What's worked and what hasn't. And let's just get honest. Like, I'm doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Definition of insanity. That kind of, that's an interesting, way to look at it. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And if you're doing that, then how about we try something different? And that's what I like about intuitive eating is that it gets you, it's kind of that mind, body, spirit way of looking at food and life. And then doing something different. Because what I know from everybody I've ever talked to is that you can get your food, that kind of physical component in alignment, but until you get the emotions, we're going to struggle. And truthfully, and for your audience, you might have a body that's not larger in the sense of what the world considers larger, but you still don't like it.
Right.
And that I found from people that I've talked to can be even harder because they'll say, they'll tell somebody, I don't like my body, I don't like how I look, and people will look at you and go, you're fine, what are you talking about? It's the feeling, right? And it's the way your self-image about how you look. So noticing those things can be a great starting spot for going, maybe I'll do something different.
Yeah. Why do you think we give food so much power?
Well, what are we coming into the world doing, right? We go to our mama's breast, right?
Yeah.
It's love. You said this earlier, right? It's love. It's comfort. Have you ever seen that? You've seen it where you watch a kid for the first time have something sweet and they go, their eyes light up. If you can't see that, my eyes, I've seen it. So they go, whoa!
Like you want for that, right?
Like their eyes light up. Like, oh gosh. So there's comfort, and also it makes us feel good. We've connected. If you eat certain foods, they're yummy and they make you feel. They do. I'll own it. It does. And let's acknowledge that. But what I want to do and help people do is disconnect. Nurturing, right? From food. Food is nurturing, but we need other things to nurture ourselves. Food is for nourishment, and it tastes good, and it is nurturing, but it cannot be the totality of what we use to nurture ourselves, right? Self-love, the emotions, the thoughts, everything that we do to feel like total in mindfulness, spirit, all those things that we do to feel in alignment is what we need to feel good about ourselves. And the food, I say this, I have this quote, I'll say, put food in its proper place as nourishment.
Wow, yeah.
Right? Because we moved food into nurturing ourselves. It can be nurturing, absolutely, and it does taste good, but it cannot be the only thing that we use to nurture ourselves. And that's what happens to people when they binge eat, emotionally eat.
You're right. That's true. And you have a book that's called Feed Your Soul, Nourish Your Life. Yeah. So So my book, Feed Your Soul, Nourish Your Life, it's the six-step system to peace with food. So it's all the things I talk about. What I like about it is that it's a nice starting spot for people to start learning about intuitive eating and food for themselves. I tell stories about myself in there, about kind of what happened for me and people that I work with. But it's a nice way to get started and to learn more about intuitive eating and the 6 components I've been talking about. So I was like, anybody that I work with, I was like having present the ideas, and then at the end there's a doable. It's like you can have all the ideas and all the learning, but then what are we going to do? So at the end of each chapter, there are some things for you to do to start living life with intuitive eating, and living life differently. What other tools do you offer?
Say it again.
What other tools do you offer?
Well, I have a program that's Emotional Eating Solutions. So it's an 8-week course that I have where you go in and it's an expanded version of the book. So it's listening to me talk about each of the 6 components. We talk about wellness plans. We talk about how to live your life differently using the intuitive eating principles. So Emotional Eating Solutions, any of those things are on my website, feedyoursoulunlimited.com. So people can go there and look for it. It's the book, the Emotional Eating Solutions. You can get on my newsletter list. I think in your show notes you'll have a link for them to get on my newsletter list. But I have my podcast. There are a lot of free ways to do it too. You know what I'm saying, to get started. So there's a lot of different. I have the paid version to the free version. So just do something. What I would say to your listeners is, if you feel inspired, if any of this feels like it connects with you, do something. Right? Do one thing, right? Just try one thing and see how that is for you, because there's a way to live your life that you can have freedom with food and freedom with your emotions and with your thoughts, like where you don't live your day not liking yourself because of what you just ate. That's what I want for you. To just feel good in your body and let's live a good life, have a good meal. And have fun and just feel connected, feel more connected to ourselves.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I was actually going to ask you, what are some tips, that we can leave with the community about a better life, better eating habits and all that. So thank you so much for doing that as well. And tell us one more time where to find you. What's the name of your podcast?
My podcast is Feed Your Soul with Kim. You can just Google it. It's on iTunes. Anywhere you look, you can find Feed Your Soul with Kim. My website is feedyoursoulunlimited.com. Feed Your Soul is generally what everything is prefaced with what I do. Because I believe that's what you got to do.
That's right. And it's all connected, like we talked about. Everything's connected. So Kim, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. This was amazing. I got a lot out of it. So I know my community did. I cannot wait to have you back on the show, in the future, just to see where you are, how things progress for you, and to give us some more nuggets, because the more you learn, the more you can give back to us as well. So I can't wait. But this has been amazing. You guys, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Make sure you look up Kim, Feed Your Soul everywhere, like she said, her podcast, her book, her tools. You guys, we all need this. We all know someone that can use this as well. So don't be selfish, don't hog it. Definitely share, definitely like, share, and comment on this podcast as well. And let's get her out there, you guys. Let's make this world a better place for all of us and our children and the next generation to come. So guys, thank you so much for joining us again. I love you, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.